Hey there nation, and welcome to the show where we help you to play miniatures wargaming on a budget. It is I, Commander Cheapskate, and we are back on the episode of Way of the Underhive. This series is dedicated to brand new players of Necromunda learning more about their favorite gangs and tactics and how best to use them in your future campaigns of Necromunda. And on today's episode is a little bit more of a kind of a brief video, and the reason why is because we're looking at this brand new docket that was created by Games Workshop. It's part of their Apocrypha Necromunda rule set they released on the Warhammer Communities page. This one is called Escape from Zalktra is what it's called. And the reason why we're talking about this one is because while it is interesting to have some background information about Lady Credo and how she escaped from prison and all that kind of stuff, and you have this Escape from the Deep, which is a scenario rule set, which is kind of neat as well. The main draw that I really want to draw attention to is this idea of programming your automata. So for those of you who are playing Palanite Enforcers, these new rules have come out, which is called Enforcer Programs, which basically you can program the automata with your Sanctioners or with your hard case Cybermastiffs and actually give them really cool programming protocols that actually came out in this docket. Now, what it says here for the designer's commentary for Enforcer Programs, it does read, and I'm going to read it for verbatim, says, present below the rules for programming Enforcer, Sanctioner, Automata, and hard case Cybermastiffs, allowing you to represent the Guard Automata of Zalktra. If the arbitrator or wishes, Enforcer Gangs can use these new rules in their campaigns. So, while it is not a requirement to actually use these rules in your future campaigns in Necromunda, it's based on your arbitrator if they want to actually include these rules, but since these are kind of neat looking, might be something you might want to do for your gang. So let's go over the rules real quick. So first of all, what's going to happen is reads this, because at the start of the scenario, an Enforcer player may choose to enact enforcement programs on any or all of the Sanctioners or Cybermastiffs in their crew. The player then selects a program for each Sanctioner or Cybermastiff in their crew and notes it down. When activated, these fighters will now act according to their chosen programming, only able to select a limited range of actions as detailed in the enforcement programs table below. The exception to this, they may always take the reboot action, which is a double action. This fighter's activation ends the next time they activate. Before performing any actions, they may choose a new enforcement protocol. So why would you want these in here? The reason why you want these in here is because while it does impact the type of actions they can take and how it impacts them throughout the game, it does give you additional benefits to kind of help you out. And that is the whole purpose of actually taking this enforcement programs on your Mastiffs as well as your Sanctioners. So what we're going to talk about today is we're going to actually go through each of these different enforcement programs. We'll talk about it one by one and talk about the positive and negatives of each of them, and then give you our overall impression on these rules. So with that being said, let's go and talk about the enforcement programs for your Palanite Enforcer Automata as well as Cybermastiffs. Alright, so let's go and talk about your enforcer programs you can choose. So first one is Hunt, and the available actions that's available for your Sanctioner or your Cybermastiffs. They make movement for simple actions, shoot basic, aim basic, which is basically just normal stuff. Now it says here at the start of each end phase, move this fighter d6 inches closer to the nearest enemy fighter, and Cybermastiffs with this program have to end their activation within 6 inches of their owner rather than normal 3 inches. So this is actually pretty good in case you want them to actually get faster across the battlefield towards your opponent. This allows you close ground, so that way if you have a close combat oriented Sanctioner, for example, or you want to get your Cybermastiff stuck in, this Hunt program would be excellent for them to get the enemy at least a little bit quicker across the battlefield. Then we have Intimidate, which is a move with simple actions for that one. Charges counts as double and fights as basic, so those are the only actions they can take. And it reads, at the end of this fighter's activation, all enemy fighters within 2 inches of them must take a nerf test, which is actually kind of nice to have in case you want to break your enemies. And especially if you put this on a Cybermastiff, which is actually really fast moving, you can use them as like a psychological bomb where they kind of go on the flank, make your enemy take nerf tests, make them flee so that way they can protect when you're flanked, for example. Or if you really want to punch through the lines, you could use that on your Cybermastiffs if they want to catch up quickly to your lines, or use it for your Sanction Automata and actually just kind of disrupt your enemy that way. So that'd be kind of a cool one in order to do that. This would be murder, in my opinion, against Outcast Gangs, because Outcast Gangs have really bad cool tests, stats, so that can really mess them up there. Another program you have, of course, is called Guard. The only activations that are available to you are a basic shoot action, a basic fight action, and a basic aim action, so you can't move at all if you decide to take the Guard program. And it says, when making attacks out of other activation, i.e. reaction, or got your 6 attacks, add +1 modifier to both the fighter's hit and wound rolls. So these are actually kind of nice in order to lay as Overwatch, attacking your enemies and that +1 modifier to their shoot or fighting actions, which would actually be kind of cool to actually use that to like protect maybe like an objective of some sort. That could be really useful for you in your gang. Then we have the Capture program, which means that the only thing you're available to do is charging, which is double, or fighting, which is basic. It says if this fighter takes an enemy fighter out of action with a fight basic action, roll a d6. On a 4+, this fighter is captured. If any fighters are captured in this way, do not roll to capture fighters in the post-battle sequence, which would be really cool. So if you really want to cripple your opponents, you could definitely use this in order to capture enemy opponents, make them try to rescue them or pay them ransom, or you could just weaken your enemy's campaigns of progress by just selling them off to the guilders. That'd be a wonderful way to actually do that as well. I can see this being really good for using for your stat masters because they're very quick, or for your close combat oriented sanctioners, so that could be a really good one as well, because the reason why is they can't shoot at all. So probably more useful for your cyber mastiffs rather than your sanctioner, but still something I might keep in consideration. The next program we have, of course, is Kill, which means you can either take a charge double action, you can shoot basic or fight basic, and that's it. And it says this fighter counts both a shooting basic and fight basic action as simple actions. And these will actually be really cool to use, especially if you want to use reactionary attacks as well. Laying down that suppressive fire with the Sanctioner Automatas, or, you know, fighting multiple times against multiple opponents with the Cyber Mastiffs. So it's kind of nice like on that one as well. So that's a pretty cool idea. However, though, you can't aim, for example, or you can't what's another thing I'm looking for as well? You can't aim or things of that nature. So that's something you might want to worry about when you take the kill action. And of course, you have Rescue, which means you can either move or fight, and that's basically the only action you can take. It says if this fighter is within 3 inches of a friendly, prone, and seriously injured fighter in the recovery phase, that fighter is considered to have automatically rolled a flesh wound rolling to recover. There is no need to roll the injury dice. So that one could be really, really good as well, especially if you pair it with your Cyber Mastiffs. They can zip around the battlefield, they can protect your guys, bring them out of action again. Well, so not out of action, sorry, get them out of seriously injured and make them flesh wounds only. So that'd be something you want to take into effect. And the nice thing about this, you can reboot your automatas at any moment that you want to, and change up the programming as you need to on these guys as well, which is actually kind of cool. So there you guys have it. That basically makes up all of the different enforcement programs. Alright, so there you have it. That is the rules for the enforcement programs from the Apocrypha Necromunda information Escape from Zalkdra, which is actually kind of cool. So there you go, another game mechanic you can include in your campaigns if you want to. Of course, as it says up here in the designer's commentary, it's up to the arbitrator whether they want you to include this for your Enforcer Gangs or not. Personally, I think it's kind of cool and adds another nuanced level to Enforcer Gangs, so I'm all for it because I think that's just awesome, and I always defer to the rule of cool whenever it comes to rules, especially for the players who play in my campaign. However, if you're a player playing a different campaign, you should always check with your arbitrator first on all these kind of things to see if they want to go for it. If your arbitrator decides not to accept it, you gotta understand it's their campaign, so they make the calls that they want to as well. And if your arbitrator will let you do it, then that'd be kind of a cool thing to include in your gang as well. So tell me what you guys think in my comments box below. Do you like these enforcement programs? Do you think they help or hurt, or what's your overall opinion on those ones? As always, you guys, please feel free to comment, like, and or subscribe. Your guys' input is valuable to us as always. Also check us out on Facebook, Instagram, as well as blogger.com for all the latest greatest hobby news related to this channel. That's good for this, you guys. We'll catch you guys next one. Peace out and stay classy.